I can still hear the sound of my own voice, sharp and poisonous, slicing through the air like glass. At least Samuel knew how to love me. He was better than you in every way. Those words did not come out as a whisper. They burst out of me in the middle of a fight with Richard, my husband of 25 years. His eyes widened, his lips parted, as if he had been shot. I could almost hear the crack in his heart when he stumbled back, his face pale and stunned. The silence that followed was worse than any slap. My hands trembled, my chest burned, and even though I wanted to snatch those words back, they lingered in the air, heavy, unforgiving, and true. I had just told my husband that my ex was better, and I knew nothing would ever be the same again. Before I continue, let me pause to say this. To all my amazing subscribers, I want to thank you for being here with me. Your support is the heartbeat of this channel. To all new viewers and returning ones who are yet to subscribe, I cannot wait for you to hit that subscribe button because it fuels me to keep telling these raw and powerful stories. Please also share your thoughts in the comments below because your voices matter here. Now, let me take you back into my story. My name is Donna. I am 55 years old and I live in Nebraska. Richard, my husband, is 58. He is steady, dependable, and hardworking, the kind of man people respect. But behind closed doors, he is distant. His affection dulled over the years. We share a house, we share bills, but somewhere along the line, we stopped sharing our hearts. And then there is Samuel. He is 57 now, but when I met him in my 20s, he was a wildfire, passionate, reckless, and impossible to resist. He was the man who once made me feel like I could set the world on fire with just a glance. Our relationship ended decades ago because his life was unstable, but the memory of his intensity never left me. So when I blurted out his name that night, it was not just an accident. It was years of bottled up longing exploding at once. Richard stared at me, his fists clenched at his sides. His jaw tightened, but he said nothing. For a long moment, he just stood there, his breathing heavy, his eyes locked on me as though he was trying to recognize the woman he thought he knew. Then, without a single word, he turned and walked out of the house, leaving the front door wide open behind him. The cold Nebraska wind rushed in, chilling me to the bone, and in that silence, I realized my marriage had just cracked wide open and I might never be able to seal it again. After Richard walked out that night, silence became my closest companion. Days stretched into weeks, and although he came back to the house physically, his heart never returned. He spoke less, touched me less, and the gap between us became a canyon I could not cross. That was when the past found me. It happened in Omaha on an ordinary Tuesday afternoon. I had gone into a coffee shop near the old market, a place I rarely visited, and there he was, Samuel. His hair was streaked with gray now, his face carved with years, but his eyes, those same mischievous, fire-filled eyes, still carried the power to stop me cold. "Donna," he said, his voice rough yet smooth, the kind of voice that could strip years off my age. My breath caught. In that moment, I was 25 again, with my heart pounding against my ribs, drawn to him like a moth to flame. We talked. What began as catching up spilled into hours. He laughed at my stories, leaned closer when I spoke, and reminded me of how alive I used to feel. When his hand brushed against mine on the table, a spark jolted through me. So familiar, so dangerous. I told myself it was harmless, that I was only being polite, But deep down, I knew better. Soon after, Samuel began calling me at night. His words dripped with warmth and attention, the very things I craved from Richard but never received anymore. "You sound lonely," he said once. I wanted to deny it, but tears betrayed me. Samuel filled the cracks Richard had left untouched. His voice painted pictures of what could have been if I had chosen him instead all those years ago. One evening, I agreed to meet him again. We did not cross certain lines, but the tension was thick, every look and every touch pulling me deeper. He leaned in once, his lips hovering so close that I could feel his breath mixing with mine. My body trembled with both desire and guilt. I pulled away, but the damage had already been done. My heart had reopened a door I had sworn was locked forever. Richard noticed the change in me. He saw the late-night smiles, the way I guarded my phone. One night, while I was in the shower, he picked it up, and there it was. Samuel's message glowed across the screen like a confession written in fire. "I still dream of you." When I came out, Richard was sitting on the edge of the bed, phone in hand, his face dark with a storm I had never seen before. And in that moment, I knew. My secret was no longer mine to keep. Richard did not shout. He did not throw things or curse my name. He simply looked at me with an emptiness that was far more painful than rage. His voice was low, calm, and final when he said, "You gave your heart to another man. There is nothing left for me here." Within a week, he packed his things. After 25 years of marriage, he walked out with the quiet dignity of a man whose soul had been crushed. He left the house to me, but it felt less like a gift and more like a tomb. For a short while, I believed Samuel would be the one to fill that emptiness. I waited for his calls, replayed his words, and convinced myself that maybe our story was finally ready to be written. But Samuel was the same man he had always been, reckless, unpredictable, and untethered. When the weight of my divorce became real, when I needed stability more than sweet promises, he pulled away. "I cannot be what you want, Donna," he told me over the phone one night. His voice trembled, but his decision was firm. "I live for the moment. You need more than that." And then he was gone. No more messages, no more sparks, just silence. At 55, I found myself alone. The husband I had betrayed would never return, and the lover I had glorified disappeared when life demanded more than passion. My nights were cold, my mornings heavy, and the mirror showed a woman who had gambled everything for a dream that collapsed in her hands. I tell this story not to glorify the fire of forbidden love, but to lay bare its ashes. Passion can thrill you. Desire can blind you. But when it is not grounded in loyalty, it leaves you hollow. I thought I wanted the intensity of Samuel, but what I needed was the steady love Richard once tried to give me. And now I carry the burden of knowing I threw it away. So here I stand, 55 years old, alone in a quiet house in Nebraska, learning the hardest lesson of my life. Passion without commitment is nothing but smoke. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If it touched you, please let me know in the comments. Share your own thoughts, like this video, and do not forget to subscribe to the channel so that we can keep telling these raw, real, and powerful stories together.